always have to be prepared to walk. I could have signed an agreement today, and then you people would have said, oh, what a terrible deal, what a terrible thing he did. No, you have to be prepared to walk. And, you know, there was a potential we could have signed something today. I could have 100% signed something today. We actually had papers ready to be signed, but it just wasn't appropriate. I want to do it right. I'd much rather do it right than do it fast. They wanted to denuke certain areas, and I wanted everything. And the sanctions are there, and I didn't want to give up the sanctions unless we had a real program. Mm-hmm. And they're not ready for that, and I understand that fully. I really do. I mean, they spent a lot of time building it, and that doesn't mean the world has to be happy. But I wanted them to denuke.
Chairman Kim, are you ready to denuclearize?
If I'm not willing to do that, I won't be here right now.
That's a good answer. Wow, that might be the best answer you've ever heard.
All right, so how do you know when the media roots for failure? When they spend days saying Trump will give away the farm, then mock him when he doesn't.
The surprise ending to this very Trumpian cliffhanger is nothing.
This is the second time the United States has lost in Vietnam.
Strike one in Singapore. He didn't get a deal with Kim Jong-un. Now it's strike two in Hanoi. Once again, no deal to denuclearize North Korea, something that he staked a lot of his legacy, a lot of his presidency on.
So Trump left without a deal. Now, if you believe that this is A, a sign of failure, B, represents the whole process, then C, you flunked this quiz. Fact is, walking away is part of the process, which is slow and odd. Sometimes it's better to appear going backwards or making nice, even when it looks really bad. But the lines of communication exist, even when they're crossed. So by walking away, a part of negotiating, we actually move ahead. Trump went there, told the guy, hey, the sanctions stay. That's a first, and that's progress. And it could be that North Korea is unsolvable. But if there's a solution, it involves talking. And I don't know about you, but I feel safer than I did a year ago because of talking. Remember Hawaii? But if you still believe that we conceded a lot with just a meeting, then you're a relic, preferring to settle things through the currency of corpses, meaning war, old people throwing bodies at each other. For you, blood is an endless commodity. But for the more peaceful types, we'll see what happens, was a daring alternative to the status quo, which is having bureaucrats in Hawaiian shirts telling your family to seek shelter. So this is going to take a while. It's long-term effort with short-term pain. The long-term benefit will bring peace. Short-term pain, the media, who screws the world over by making any deal look like a concession. In short, Trump has a long game, which is better than the media, which has no game at all. Jesse, the media is gloating even though they make the world less safe.
Yeah, you shouldn't be celebrating the fact that North Korea still has missiles pointed at us. It's a very hard problem. If it was easy, the last three presidents would have solved it.
Yes.
I don't like the way they set him up. They say he was going to go over there and sign a bad deal to distract from Cohen. So he goes over there, doesn't sign a bad deal, and now they say he can't deal.
Yes.
I think what happened was...
But he did distract from Cohen.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And we'll have Cohen next on the B block.
It could be in the A block at any time.
Honestly, I think what happened, nice tease, I think what happened is the Chinese probably told Kim to scuttle this thing, to use this as leverage for the trade deal, because remember, Trump said he was going to drop the tariff increase on March 1st. So it's a big kind of gamesmanship between Xi and Trump, and like he says, we'll see what happens. I don't like the deal at all. If they wanted to destroy their main nuclear plant in exchange for dropping all sanctions, that's crazy. It's you know, an obvious phrase, but no deal is better than a bad deal. It's very easy to do a deal, and I think the media likes the idea of a deal, and they don't care what's in it. It was easy to make the Iran deal. Just give them a bunch of cash and let them keep all their missiles. I mean, it's easy to do deals. It's very difficult to do tough deals, and this is a long-term problem.
Dan, this is what you call a lose-lose proposition with the media. If he made a deal, they would say it's a concession. So he doesn't get a deal. Now he's just incompetent.
Right, and that's why I think that leaders have to ignore it.
Yeah.
You just do the right thing, and you move on. You explain it the best that you can. I didn't like the comment from the MSNBC commentator in your montage that this is the second time we lost in Vietnam, and that is obviously so ridiculous and melodramatic. And we are clearly in a better place than we were at the end of 2017.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that. And Sue Terry, she's a expert on Korean issues. She said North Korea is the land of no good options.
Yeah.
Okay, but I do think that we're in a better place. But so is Kim.
Yeah.
So now he is in an elevated position. He's like, oh, yeah, look at me. And he's got a little bit of swagger, but he also has our attention. So I don't think that the sanctions are going to get any easier for him. I don't think that his buddies, the Chinese or the Russians, are going to necessarily be of help to him. And he has just raised the bar so high for a third summit that he's going to have to give something. Because apparently there is reporting that the Secretary of State was warning the president, this guy is not coming with good intentions. He doesn't have any plan to do it, but we went ahead with the summit anyway. But now we know where everybody stands.
Yeah. Kennedy, he didn't look that well when he was there, Kim. Didn't he?
No, he looked tired, slow, and corpulent.
Yeah, kind of sweaty.
Those are three adjectives I don't want associated with me when I'm negotiating a big peace treaty. But I will say this. I think the president's right when he says that North Korea can become an economic powerhouse. That's absolutely true. And I think there are a lot of countries in the world who would like to do trade with North Korea that is denuclearized, where the labor camps have been open and those poor prisoners, those who have survived, are freed, as are their families. And that would be a great story. And I think there are a lot of people who would be snapping up bargains. But I don't think Kim Jong-un would be the leader in such a climate. I really, and he knows this, that if he gives up his nukes, he gives up his power, and he really has nothing else to offer his country, because once they realize that free market barn door can swing open, those horses are going to leave in search of economic mobility and opportunity. And he, by definition, he doesn't want to offer that to his people because he wants to remain in control. He doesn't know how.
Well, one of the consequences of playing nice is that you play too nice. And I think President Trump got a lot of guff from the media over his statements over Otto Warmbier, about saying that he took President Kim Jong-un at his word, and that did not play well here. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it particularly didn't play well with Republicans because, I mean, even on this show and this network, we have talked about Otto Warmbier as a victim of a tyrant, and what we've seen from his parents is absolute torture with what they're going through for their kid. And then you have President Trump today saying he takes Kim Jong-un's word. Well, I mean, a lot of people, I mean, Rob Portman from Ohio, but also, a number of the leading Republican senators said, that's unacceptable. Why would you do that? So to me, this plays into, I think, President Trump thinks that the key to negotiation is flattery.
Right.
That I can build a personal relationship, I'll make you feel loved and secure, and then we'll make a deal. Well, it clearly didn't happen. And I think that for lots of people in the foreign policy establishment, they think, well, why don't you do it in a more substantive way in which you think about and plan what it is you're willing to do and what you think the other guy will do? Instead, Trump says, I don't believe our intelligence agencies. I don't believe Dan Coates. I don't believe Gina Haspel. They're wrong. I believe Kim Jong-un. Well, that destabilizes us. And then we give him a platform. Dana was picking up on this. We've elevated Kim Jong-un in this process. Jesse says, hey, well, maybe it's about China and the tariffs deal, and China's putting pressure on them. But again, who put themselves in that position? It was us, because rather than go about serial, step-by-step negotiation, we just took a flyer here, and it really didn't work out.
All right, we got to toss to, guess what? We have Michael Cohen. He's speaking. There he is.
Other than it was very productive. As I said, I'm committed to telling the truth, and I will be back on March 6th to finish up. There's more to discuss. So thank you guys so much. I'm sorry you guys had to stick around all day long.
All right, we'll have more of that exciting news in a moment. So, Dana, you were about to say something.
I was going to say something. One is that there's something about the need to be willing to take risks in life. Okay, you hear that? So no risk, no reward.
That you live your life by that, Dana.
No risk. No, that's true. Well, that's true.
Risky business.
Actually, I don't really risk very much.
You took that plane to Mexico.
That was only one time. I learned my lesson. And I'm not leading a country. But yes. I would say that for anyone who, if you're going to start a business, or if you're going to grow a business, if you're going to make a leap of faith, if you're going to try to make peace with an enemy, you have to take a risk. And if you do that, you might be rewarded. You also might have a news cycle that doesn't feel very good.
Right.
But that in the long run, the long arc of history will benefit the risk takers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as you remember, Juan, because you're a little bit older than I am, Gorbachev was at Reykjavik with Reagan. Reagan walked out and said no deal, and then he got crushed by the media. And then look what happened. They had several other meetings, and things ended up working out. But I do understand your point, because traditionally in diplomacy, and you have these summits, all your underlings line up all of these things that are going to happen, and then it's basically like a big signing ceremony. The problem with that is Kim. He's a dictator, and he doesn't have any underlings that he can farm out any responsibility to.
Well, and he refused to let them talk to the Secretary of State, which I think should have been a tell.
Yeah,
right.
Of course it's a tell.
Right, so it's all Trump, it's all Kim. They're the only individuals that can make this deal, and it's not a lot of time.
As I said, Otto Warmbier really bugs me.
I agree.
I really bugs me. But I don't understand why you take the word of, like, this Saudi prince, Mohammed bin Sultan or whatever. Salman. I don't understand why you take Vladimir Putin's word over our intelligence people. And now you take Kim Jong-un over our intelligence. Was obvious.
Well, with me either. I think ultimately he's just trying to find peace, and he thinks that's a strategy to do.
But that's not a risk. That's an insult to us as an American people.
I think it is a risk, and what I want to hear from is the Warmbier family. We do know that the chief negotiator agrees with Trump, the Israeli paratrooper Mickey Bergen, who negotiated it, agrees with Trump with what Trump said. But I would like to know the family, because Trump has a good relationship with the Warmbiers.
Great relationship.
So let's wait and see. Okay.